What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna wait a few seconds for Facebook to load and then we're gonna begin. What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being patient. I hope you're enjoying your holiday season with your family, your friends, or whatever you're doing, even if you're not celebrating anything. I want to talk about two things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is I've taken a break. I've done something differently with social media and intaking the information that I've been doing. And I want to talk about how to beat the metaverse. Everybody's talking about how digital is taking over. Of course, they're doing the virtual reality goggles, but I think I figured out at least how to combat the metaverse, which is what I'm going to talk about first. And the second thing, if you stick around, which I hope you do, I want to talk about why the media hates Joe Rogan. There's a few things that these people have in common. Ron DeSantis is a politician. Joe Rogan is a MMA announcer and podcaster and comedian. But there's something that they're both talking about that has a intersectionality of what the media really hates. And it's very nefarious. It's very wrong. It's very dangerous what the media is doing. And we're going to talk about that. So hopefully you stick around. Someone said they're jealous. Probably part of it, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. What's up, Kim? Thank you guys. I'll wait like 30 seconds for everybody to get in. And I'm excited to talk about the first topic, how to beat the metaverse and social media stuff. And I'll probably just start right now. What's up, Todd? I like to wait a few. What's up, Kay? We'll give some shout outs. Let's see. Ashley says, "How can you send me an article?" It's a good question, but here's my thing. Don't send me an article. And I'm not trying to be mean, but this is going to be part of my first talk. Human beings, I guess I'll just start now. Humans are not meant to intake millions of things all the time. And this is part of what's driving me crazy, everybody crazy, liberals, conservatives, people in every country. This is part of what's driving us crazy is there's an overload of information. You don't want to be ignorant. I don't think you want to be somebody who is clueless to what's going on, but you also don't want to over shower yourself in information. So, I'm no different than you in the sense of I open up my, cell phone at some point in the day and we're hit with all these different social media, all these different articles, all this information. And me personally, I'm somebody who gets hundreds of messages a day, and I can't look at 100 messages. It would drive me insane. So I don't want you to send me an article. And I'm not being rude, but I get sent hundreds of articles a day, and it's miserable. And I think we're driving ourselves miserable. So don't send me an article. Keep it to yourself. Maybe you could comment when I'm doing a question and answer. We could talk about it, but I appreciate your thought, but it goes right in hand what I'm talking about. So, it's the holiday season. I'm seeing my friends, my family. I never take a break from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Part of the reason is, I used to be broke. Nobody used to care about what I say. I had very little impact, and I'm very grateful to have a following, an audience, an income. I mean, you name it, a reach, the ability to get the message that I want to share to people, to the world. I'm so grateful, and I'm also a bit afraid to lose it. The algorithms are always changing. Things go like this. People's attention spans are very short. So I consider myself very fortunate and blessed to have what I have, and I don't want to lose it for multiple different reasons. And I feel like if I ever stop, I could not only lose people's attention, but more importantly, like the algorithm, I might just lose something I can't control and never be able to get it back. So I don't know that I've taken a break besides like a cruise here or there in years. And even when I'm on vacation, a lot of times I'm posting. So I took like a real break where I didn't even look at information for like a week. And it was amazing. But, more importantly, I deleted Twitter off of my cell phone. Twitter is, to me, I use it the most. I get all my information from Twitter. Yes, I use Facebook, Instagram, etc. But Twitter is where I spend more time. And just think about the psychology of it. This is what I really want to talk about. It might not be the most flashy conversation I've ever had as far as clicks and views, but I think it is the most important one. When I wake up in the morning, before we had the cell phone, say you turned on the television or you got a newspaper. This is how it used to work in the 60s, 70s, 80s. A lot of people remember that here. Some older people, other people never lived then, so you don't even know what it's like. But think about the psychology. You read the morning paper, you might not like what the news says, but you can't like argue with a million people at once. You're just reading it. Maybe you argue with your wife or your husband, maybe you argue with your kids, maybe you argue with your neighbor, but you're having a few conversations. Nowadays, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, I think Twitter is probably the most toxic for this, but you are exposed right in the morning. You open your cell phone and there's thousands of people saying thousands of different things. Every video clip, you got Fauci, you got Nancy Pelosi, you got Trump, you got you got me saying something, you got this person saying something, you got liberals saying something, you got Sean Hannity, and you're just smacked in the face with 10,000 different opinions. And now we have the ability to actually answer. So, I log into Twitter. Should I respond to that? Should I say a joke? Should I say this? And now I'm walking throughout my whole day, thinking, not even living in the present moment, but thinking about like, man, that really bothered me. Man, I don't like what that person said. Yeah, I said that and they commented. Now I want to argue with them. And it makes me a fool and it makes everybody a fool. The fact that now, instead of like going about my day, working out, doing something productive, making video, I'm thinking about arguing with someone I don't even know where they are. They might not even be a real person. They don't like me. Everybody's not going to agree with you. If there's, billions of people on planet Earth, you're not going to get along with everybody. But back in the day, you're just like, well, I don't have to see everybody. But now we're on these social media platforms where it's so unhealthy to wake up to 1,000 different opinions. Not just, it's like an overload of information, every article, every story, everything, all the time, boggling your mind, filling your mind with all these thoughts. But it also takes you out of the present moment, in the sense of like, now instead of going throughout my day, I'm like thinking about what I'm going to say, or I'm bothered by something someone said and thinking about how to respond. And I'm not even living like a normal life. So deleting Twitter for a week for the first time in a while off my cell phone, when I wake up, I don't think about all this stuff. I'm not ignorant, but it's like, it's so toxic. I don't know if I'm ever going to download it again on my phone. I mean, I definitely want to get news. I don't want to like, fall off the face of the earth. I'm definitely going to be productive. And come January, I'm going to work even harder than ever. But I got to figure out how to do that. So when everyone's talking about the metaverse, metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg, he's going to try to trap us in virtual reality. They're going to do all this stuff. They probably will try to, take it to the next level and do stuff like Oculus, where you wear these goggles or whatever they're calling it now, and you're seeing things and you're moving. But more importantly, I talk about this sometimes, but we're already living in virtual reality right now. This is not real reality. I'm speaking into my camera and we got almost 2,000 people between Facebook and YouTube. This is virtual reality. You're listening to me through virtual reality. When I argue with people on Twitter, it's virtual reality. When I'm, commenting on Instagram, it's virtual reality. So, outside of the metaverse, if you're already spending hours a day on the computer, you're spending hours a day in virtual reality. So how do you beat the metaverse? It's not like you have to fight Mark Zuckerberg in a gladiator fight and winner takes all. It's really just a self accountability for myself, for everybody, in the sense of like, how much time do you spend on social media? How much time do you spend arguing with people? How much time off of social media do you spend thinking about what you did on social media? They're consuming your thoughts in the real world. Now you're being dragged into that world. So this is just what I wanted to say before we get into the main story, which is the DeSantis and Rogan one. Is I really realized how toxic, I've always known, but taking a break from Twitter and not having it on my cell phone, I don't think about news stories in the morning. It's not healthy to think about all this stuff in the morning. And maybe most importantly, it's like thrusting yourself into like a room with 100,000 people at 8 a.m. in the morning, where everybody's arguing. People you like, people you don't like, people you hate, people you support, the world's worst politicians and doctors telling you that they're taking away your freedom. It's so toxic on multiple levels. It's toxic to intake. It's toxic to think about all the time. It's toxic to have these virtual reality debates via text. I got to figure out a way to get away from this stuff, because although I'm a pretty healthy person, I mean, I'm a human being. So if I don't even look at that in the morning? I have my coffee, I read a little bit, I do my thing, I talk to people I actually like, I text people that I actually like, or I thrust myself into that. It's impossible, no matter how smart or how calm you are. I consider myself a somewhat calm person. Yeah, there's a reason I'm upset sometimes. There's a reason that sometimes I seem, oh, hold on, somebody called, I had to take it off. There's a reason I seem more bothered other times than not. Most of the time it is that. It's not even real life bothering me. It's just like getting consumed in social media for too long, in debates and discussions and overload of information, you know, for too long. So it's something to think about. How to beat the metaverse is going to be a self thing. And someone said, "Can you send me an article before we get to the next topic?" I don't, every time I log on Instagram, I don't use Instagram that much, but that's where I do read comments. Sometimes I have 100 messages. So you have to think from your perspective, I appreciate it. It's like, okay, anomaly, he's got a bigger platform, or I like him and I trust him. I want to send him an article. From my perspective, I only log into Instagram a couple times a day. And when I do, I have 100 messages. Do you think that me in the real world that has things doing, I'm working, I'm constantly talking about stuff, I'm constantly seeing the articles. Do you think I want to see 100 messages of people complaining, freaking out to me? It bothers me. Your energy affects me just like my energy affects you. And it bothers me. People say, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my." That's my messages. If I log into Instagram, "Oh my god, oh 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 my god," then I'm, "Oh my god," like it's all bad. It's all bad. Yes, I want to read. Yes, I want to research. But if you've seen it, I've probably seen it 5 times. Sometimes people show me new stuff that I haven't seen, and I'm grateful. I'm not trying to act like a know-it-all. I'm on these same social media platforms. If you've seen it somewhere, chances are I've probably seen it too. And that's not energy that I want to deal with. Yes, I do news, but I don't want to be a slave to my cell phone where I'm freaking out 1,000 times a day because I'm consuming all of the negative news in the world and internalizing it, and then acting like me freaking out about it's going to do something. So really, really think about that, because people think they're being nice to me or something and they're freaking out. What do I do? That's fine. It's like taking a break from that's been so great. I haven't even done that much. I mean, I see my family, but I'm not even like traveling or doing something fun, but it's like, my goodness, what a difference not to read messages on Instagram of people freaking out every day, not to read, comments on Twitter and different people saying different stuff and me responding. Not only is it the stress of people freaking out all the time and saying all this stuff, but also the stress that I'm causing myself of figuring out what I'm going to say. And that's part of my job. So I don't want to complain about it. But it's like, half of the battle is like, I'm thinking all the time, I'm seeing stuff. How am I going to use this? How am I going to do this? And at a certain point, there's got to be a balance with this. So that's what I wanted to say. It's not going to be the most glorious and widely spread, viral video I've ever done, but it might be the most important to defeat the metaverse, to defeat virtual reality. You have to, one, understand you're already living in it. You're already living in virtual reality. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, it's not real. Yes, it's something, but it's virtual reality. It's the same thing as playing a video game, except you're doing it with your thoughts, with real thoughts, with other people's opinions. And think about if you'd want to stand in a room and argue with people, 100,000 people. That's a miserable. Hey, do you want to go to this party with 10 people you like? Yeah. Do you want to go to this party with 100,000 people you like? You're not going to like 70,000 of them. Even the people you like are going to nag you and complain about everything you say, and you're going to want to respond, and then you're going to debate them via text. I would be like, no, I don't want to go to that party. So, really think about it. I'm not telling people not to use social media, because I will use it as well. It could be the greatest or worst thing that ever happens to us. But really think about it, because hopping into text-based arguments is miserable, and consuming too much information will destroy you. Even if you're the smartest, wisest, most rational person, the human brain is not meant for like this much information overload. So figure out how to take it, read it, don't become a fool, but do not get trapped in it, because it's not going to be Mark Zuckerberg coming to your house. Just like with the pandemic, they didn't really send cops around in America. I know they did that in Australia. It was more a choice. It was like people said, I'm going to be afraid. I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go to work. I'm going to allow it. So it's going to be much more of you doing it to yourself and us doing it to ourselves than it is them, doing it to us. The World War III in this era, it's not the era of fighting in Vietnam. It's not the era of gunfights. It's the era of like mental imprisonment. It's the era of social media takeover. It's the era of the big conglomerates and the governments having the power to not just round people up, but the power to change the entire world via social media, television, and more importantly, maybe their grip on the medical industry and stuff like that, where if they make a rule from the top up, doesn't matter if you're the best doctor or nurse, they're not going to allow you to work there if you don't follow the rules. So that's the game that we're playing. It's a chess game, and the most important part that you can control, all the stuff that is out of our control. The most important part that you can control is your accountability. So if you don't want to get trapped in the metaverse, and that, really think about how much information you're taking, how it's changing your thoughts throughout the day, how it's kind of trapping you in that world even when you're not on it, and you become a slave to your cell phone. Just like a cell in a prison, a cell phone, you become a slave to it, just like I do. I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. It's changed my life for the better, but it also ruins my life for the worse. It's like the yin and the yang. The cell phone could be the greatest thing to ever help humanity, or it could just mentally destroy us all. So something to think about. It's been great deleting Twitter off my phone. I got to get back to work, and I will work hard. I took a break for my own, just to do it once in a while, a little mini vacation of sorts. But it really made me realize, okay, I'm going to go back to work, but I'm not going to do it in that fashion. I'm not going to argue with anybody on Twitter. It's not worth it. It's not healthy for all the reasons that I explained. Um, Second thing I want to talk about, probably the thing that people care about more, is DeSantis and Joe Rogan. Why does the media hate them so much? There's a few reasons. One of the obvious ones I'll say before the maybe not obvious to some people is they're not like saying exactly what the media wants. So anybody that breaks the narrative and says something outside of like the basic corporate liberal normal, which is not even liberal anymore, it's like authoritarian, like big government control, mental imprisonment of people who believe them. That's a major reason. Rogan's got a huge podcast. DeSantis is clearly a front runner for leading the party or leading it in spirit. So they're breaking the mold. But one thing that I noticed listening to Rogan's podcast with Peter McCullough, if you haven't heard that, I would suggest listening to that. I heard it. Peter McCullough is a doctor who seems like he's pretty high level, and he was talking about the same thing that Rogan talks about, and the same thing that DeSantis has really kind of championed over the last couple months, which is early treatment. I have to be careful with this because we live in a psycho authoritarian, social media, Orwellian, tyrannical society where they have sucked away our free speech under the guise of public health and under the guise of social justice. They've used that to be a communist authoritarian ruler leadership. So I got to be careful with what I say. And in general, I'm not a doctor, so the generic consult your local physician that you trust and is qualified to talk about this stuff, because I'm not going to tell people what to do. Unlike what they do, they tell you to get medication, they have no liability for it, and that's somehow okay, which it's not. But I don't do that. I've never told people to do that on my platform. In general, what DeSantis and Peter McCullough and Joe Rogan talk about is early treatment. And it's crazy that the media has gone so all in on vaccines that they don't talk about full scale health. If you're going to talk about vaccines, I'm not going to stop you, but can we talk about everything? I always talk about diet, exercise. How much do you take care of yourself? These are all things that you can do before you get sick, right? Before you get sick. Are you working out? Are you eating healthy? Are you trying to be the best version of yourself you could be so your body's as strong as it could be? That's very, very important. Nobody talks about that. I don't even know if DeSantis talks about it that much, but I know Rogan talks about it. I talk about it. Why? Because it's so important, and it's so clear that these people that are running the media and these people that are running society, they don't give two craps about your personal health, your fitness, your diet. These people are evil. Honestly, when it's all said and done, they should be held accountable in a court of law, I think, for what they've done, because they have so clearly ignored one of the main pillars of health that it's disgusting in this degenerate society that they've been able to not only get away with it, but silence and censor their way more honest and way more healthy critics. It's just disgusting. But outside of that, whether you're, vaccinated or not, healthy or not, fat or thin, strong or weak, if you get sick, which anyone can do, a healthy person could get sick, a fat person could get sick, a skinny person could get sick, a bodybuilder could get sick, Joe Rogan could get sick, Don Lemon could get sick, anybody could get sick. Once you're sick, what do you do? And this is something that you almost never hear the mainstream media talk about. You almost never hear Fauci talk about. You almost never hear. This is something that DeSantis has championed. He's his little campaign, Early Treatment Saves Lives. He's talking about, once again, don't listen to me, consult your local doctor. But if you live in Florida, it's probably much easier to find because Ron DeSantis has championed monoclonal antibodies and early treatment. Because whether you're fat or skinny, strong or weak, vaccinated or not, and you get sick, you should know what to do. And, according to a lot of doctors, according to, people like DeSantis and Rogan, they talk about monoclonal antibodies. Once again, don't do it. Talk to your doctor, make sure it's right. But that is one of the treatments that you could take. A lot of people don't know this. You only know this if you are right wing at this point. Most people only know this if they listen to Rogan. If you listen to the media, you would think a vaccination. You should go take that when you're sick. It's like it's not something you take once you're already sick. So it's just weird. And Peter McCullough was talking about it. He was like, on Joe Rogan's podcast, he said, and this is his perspective, he's talking about all these major medical schools, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, all these schools. And he's like, all of them, they don't seem to have a plan before you get hospitalized. Like once you're hospitalized, they have a plan, but before it's like get your vaccine, and then if you're hospitalized, we'll tell you what to do. What about in between those stages? Whether you're vaccinated or not, you're sick. A lot of people, it gets worse and worse and worse, and it seems like a good idea to have early treatment. That seems to be a good idea, and that's something that Rogan and Ron DeSantis talk about, and they don't hassle you whether you're vaccinated or not. They don't say it's bad one way or the other. I mean, obviously the media will tell you, but it is important to get early treatment and know what to do before it, bubbles out of control. Just like it is for almost everything. If you have strep throat, it's a good idea to figure out how to cure it. If you don't cure strep throat over the course of 3 weeks, it's going to get worse. If you have cancer, it's better to catch it in its early stages. If you have a cold or a flu, it's better to, treat it earlier and not just go out and drink and stuff. It's going to get worse. And it's the same thing with COVID. Yes, these are all different illnesses and diseases, but everything I would think in the world is better to treat early. Just like it's better to take care of yourself before you get sick than it is to get wildly out of shape and be like, way less healthy. This is like basic root level stuff, and that's why the media hates DeSantis and Joe Rogan so much. They talk about this whether you get the jab or not. They're preparing people in a way that might not be suitable to what the media wants you to do, but they're talking about ways that you can get early treatment. Many of them are approved and many of them are mainstream. But this is very it bothers the media, it bothers Democrats, it bothers the health experts, which you have to ask yourself, do they care about how many people die? Because before you're hospitalized, you should really figure it out in the first 14 days. What are you going to do? Make sure this doesn't get out of control. They're like suppressing this information. They're suppressing any medication that isn't a vaccine. They're suppressing conversations about it. They're suppressing doctors. They're deleting content. They're going as far as they could possibly go to cover up, censor, silence, and basically banish information about even medications that they themselves support and fund and approve, like monoclonal antibodies. I'm not going to talk about the other ones that are very, very, censored, like Ivor blank blank and hydroxy blank blank. These are medications that they certainly don't want you to talk about, and they don't want doctors to prescribe it. And they're doing everything they could possibly do to cover that up. But even something that is uncontroversial, like monoclonal antibodies that they themselves have approved and funded and support, they barely talk about it. It's like they just want people to get vaccinated. That's all they care about. They don't care about how fat you are, how skinny you are, how good you take care of yourself, whether you drink water, just suck down soda 8 times a day. They don't care if you get sick early. And DeSantis seems to care. And Joe Rogan seems to care because they don't hate you if you're vaccinated and they don't hate you if you're unvaccinated. And the media, they hate you if you're unvaccinated. They hate you. And if you're vaccinated, they are what Malcolm X would have described as like the wolf and the fox. They're wolf in sheep's clothing. They act like they're your best friend. But if you're vaccinated, even if the percentages are more on your side, there are still tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of vaccinated people who are getting sick. And there's thousands upon tens of thousands who are getting hospitalized. Yes, the percentages might be in your favor, just like the percentages of dying of COVID are in your favor, just like the percentages are in your favor if you're 40 versus 80. Yes, there's going to be statistical percentages that are in your favor over the course of the major study. But one thing is for certain, you could still get sick. And if you get sick, you should know what to do. And nobody's talking about it except for Joe Rogan and Ron DeSantis. So the liberal or the medical expert is really like the wolf, the ones they put on television, not the real ones, are the wolf in sheep's clothing who tell you, you're a piece of trash if you're unvaccinated, you're subhuman if you're unvaccinated, you're the greatest thing in the world if you're vaccinated, and then you get sick, and they don't really tell you that much. They don't tell you, hey, maybe you should get to your doctor right away, or maybe you should call a doctor right away and try to get prescribed through a doctor, listen to your medical advisor, not me, get some monoclonal antibodies that can then, early treatment. Like Ron DeSantis says, early treatment saves lives. So, this is what Joe Rogan tried to say. Early treatment saves lives. He said, I named IV drip, I named this, I named monoclonal antibodies, and all they focused on was the Ivor blank blank. That's all they wanted to talk about. And I'm doing that to throw off the AI algorithms, but it's like they didn't mention the fact that he took an IV drip. which I don't know that that helped, but it's like people do that anyway to get healthier, like if they drink too much. They didn't talk about the monoclonal antibody. Like they focused on the one thing they liked and made the whole story about that. So if I was left wing and I believed the media, I would think that monoclonal antibodies were like a right wing conspiracy. I would be like, oh my God, Ron DeSantis is killing everybody because he wants early treatment and he doesn't, he allows kids to play soccer and he understands like it's healthy to work and, you don't want to destroy the economy. Thank God I'm not brainwashed by the media because people can be triple vaccinated and they probably have no idea that there are early treatments outside of vaccines, which there are, because the vaccine is something you do to try to prevent it. And since this one doesn't do that, and it doesn't do what a lot of traditional vaccines do, now they're saying that it can improve your chances of, not getting hospitalized. Improve your chances, not 100% efficacy, which by the way, the very, very ignorant, evil, and degenerate CEO of Pfizer, he once tweeted that. You could find it. He said his vaccine had 100% at one point, 100% efficacy from preventing you from hospitalizations. He tweeted that misinformation from a study that's clearly false. You don't have 100% chance. You might have a high percent chance, but not 100%. But he lied to you. So they're doing everything they can to cover up early treatment. And whether you're vaccinated or not, you could look at the statistics in Vermont. In the last times I checked, there are, dozens of people who are dying that are vaccinated. And maybe, I don't know for sure. Once again, talk to your doctor. Maybe if the media told them, congratulations on getting vaccinated, but make sure you know what to do if you get sick. Because even though your chances are better, if you get sick, you should have a plan, because if you wait 15, 16 days and it blows out of control, just like if you wait for other illnesses, it becomes harder to treat. This is true to almost every sickness. If you let it boil out of control, it's not good. If you catch it earlier, it's better. If you do the right things earlier, it's better. That's true with everything. They're not talking about that. This is why they hate Joe Rogan. This is why they hate Ron DeSantis. And they should be ashamed of themselves. I don't care what they do, how much they cut my reach. They could take all my money. They could ruin my life. They have the blood on their hands of all the people who they brainwashed into thinking that vaccines are the be all end all, which they're clearly not due to studies. And you don't have to think about early treatment. You don't have to take steps to prevent yourself from being hospitalized, many of which can be prevented if you look at statistics of losing weight will increase your chances. And also early treatment statistically will improve your chances. And talking to a doctor, not me, is the right decision. I'm not saying to do what I'm saying because I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just saying any sickness I have, what I would want to do is assess how I feel, but also treat it early. And that's what I do with everything. I change my diet when I'm sick. I try to get more pho and soups and things. I change my health regimen. I clearly don't go out and try to hurt other people, but it's like this early treatment, treating yourself. It's disgusting what the media is doing, and blood is on their hands. And statistically, they are just confusing people into thinking that there's nothing else to do besides get vaccinated, and that's just not true. It's not true scientifically, realistically. Like there are a full category of things you could do, and the one thing that DeSantis and Rogan talk about is early treatment. They're talking about that, and every time they say it, they won't say, well, I don't like Joe Rogan and DeSantis, but early treatment, we can agree on that. And we can agree on, say, someone said Regeneron. I'm not telling people what to do, but it's like, yeah, a monoclonal antibody or this. They don't even try to do that. They just say, these people are bad and don't listen to them and don't look at them. And it's like blood is on their hands. It's disgusting. Thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. I'm going to stay for probably like 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to take off. I appreciate you so much. Did I see the interview with Lex Friedman did with the Pfizer CEO? I did not, but I'm going to check it out. And, I'm excited for the new year. I have a friend helping me in March, so I'm going to try to up everything I'm doing, quality, quantity, without ruining it. I'm very excited to hit the new year strong. I have a lot of exciting things. I'm pretty much done with my book. I'm going to try to get that out in January, February, the latest. I'm going to try to do a speaking tour this year. I have the right people in line because I don't know how to book it myself really, but I have the right thing in line. I might do a speaking tour. A lot of exciting things. I just want to show you guys something. This real quick because I just got it in the mail myself. These are the Dream Rare hoodies. So this is the Dream Rare hoodie, and I want to just show you it came out amazing. I hope everybody who got it enjoy it. It's got anomaly. If you can see it right there, it's got it stitched. That's why it took a little extra long. It's backwards, I know on there, but it's stitched in. That's embroidered. This is printed, but they look great. These are very comfortable. They're made in the U.S., or I wouldn't have sold them. You can see made in the U.S. They got the flag. So hopefully everybody enjoyed your Dream Rare hoodies, and they're at dreamrare.com. So those we did them a little fancier. These were, you don't even want to know how expensive they were to make, but I would rather spend more than get some, like, overseas made stuff. Thermonomics said, have you read The Price of Tomorrow? I have not. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you. Someone said can't see very well. Well, you can check them on the website. Someone said, if you don't know who Dr. McCullough is, do your research. Listen to the Rogan podcast. It's very good. It's very clear. He's a very fair person. He's been censored a lot. It's a great listen. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. Silence. I read your comment. Someone said, too bad you don't have XXL tall. We have, I believe we have XXL. I don't know if they're sold out, but we have some pretty big ones. And I know that because the bigger you make them, the more they cost, dude. The big ones, we have like XXL or XXXL. I don't know if they're still in stock, but it costs damn near $40. I'm barely making any money on these. I don't care, but I'm just saying it costs almost, I think, over $40 for the XXL ones. These are like, and that's in bulk. I bought these in bulk. I'm just saying it's good quality stuff. I'd rather than buy like a $15 cheap hoodie from China. I'm buying the real deal, made in the US, stitched, embroidered, everything here. Sheesh, those XXLs, man. I was looking at the price. I almost fainted because I paid for them. I was like, sheesh, that's in bulk. We can't get a better deal. They're like, I'm like, that's fine. Let's get them going. Someone said, did you get vaccinated? In the past, I have been vaccinated for other things. Did I get the COVID-19 mRNA Trump pump or the Johnson and Johnson double shot from the J&J boys? No, I have not received a Moderna, a Pfizer, a Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca, and I never will. I don't want it. I've heard the sales pitch a million times. I've heard it from liberals. I've heard it from conservatives. I've heard it from the media. I've heard it from Fox News, from CNN. I've heard it. I'm not interested. I will not be forced it. I will not be coerced. I will not be bribed. I am not interested in it for multiple reasons. I could name 7. So if anybody in the media wants to ask me about that or call me names, I'm willing to chat as long as I know it won't be framed out of context. So yeah, no, I have not. I will not. And I will go the distance to not do it. And I want to say this real quick because I know a lot of people are caving because they're taking away stuff, right? It's like being held ransom. It would be like if somebody tried to steal my wallet and said, I'm gonna hold a gun to your head and I'm gonna steal your wallet until you give them the wallet because you want to live. This is what people are doing. Not everybody. Some people got it under their own free will, but I would assume over half of the population got it because they're being threatened. But what does that say about the company you work for? What does that say about the country you live in if you have to be threatened and held for ransom just to keep your stuff? This is a very dangerous precedent. So I could name 7, scientific reasons I don't want to get it, but also like this is not going to end. And I hate to sound like a I told you so person because that's kind of cringy and douchey, but I told people this before the pandemic. I predicted this in 2019, 2020. And I'm not like this wizard that has a secret. I could lie to you like a bunch of these other accounts and act like I'm like oh, I look in my crystal ball with Mike Lindell. It's like, no, I don't need, and I'm not making fun of Mike Lindell. I like him, but I'm not going to act like it's obvious. These, they write books. I read their books. They write documents. I read their documents. They do simulations. I watch their simulations. They write simulations. I read their They map and point all this stuff out. And if you look at what these people want, they're very interested in multiple things, including an economic overhaul of our country. So, they're never let a good crisis go to waste. This is never going to end until enough people say no. And, I posted a Thomas Sowell tweet about inflation where he was talking about how inflation is really just stealing money from the average person. There's nothing safe about this. There's nothing safe about what we're doing. Oh, this is safe to do it. You do this for 10 years, your kids are going to be poor. So if you're older and you're like, this is safe, maybe to provide like a little shield for yourself for 2 years. But if you have kids and grandkids and you're concerned about future generations, you are going to bury them in so much debt. You're going to bury them in so much poverty, so much authoritarianism. There's nothing safe about this. So, if your government can force you to get one shot, your government can force you to get 10 shots. If your government can completely rewrite the rules of what's moral and legal, you think it's going to stop? So, it's like the mask mandate came back in California. They're never going to, give this power up until it becomes so unpopular to do so. So, and this is my, I would say, optimism. Everybody I've talked to in my personal life, I'm not going to talk about on the internet, in my personal life, everybody I've talked to, my friends and family who got the 2 shots, they don't want the booster. Not because I said anything. I don't bother people like that. Once they get the shots, I don't, I say what I show them information. If they don't want to listen, I don't care. But nobody wants to get the booster. So, they're going to drag this out as long as they can. And once people who got vaccinated don't want booster shots, that's when this is going to end. Once people get sick of wearing masks all the time when they're working, that's when this is going to end. If not, this is a permanent, authoritarian structure. Someone asked if I read the Pfizer papers. I have not, but I will check them out. I heard that I don't know if these are the ones you're talking about, but if I remember from last week, someone did a Freedom of Information Act. I'm not sure. I have to look that into. Pfizer's one of the most corrupt companies in America. They settled out one of the biggest criminal fines, if not at the time, the biggest criminal fine in America. I've known how corrupt Big Pharma was since I was 17 years old. If you follow my old rap music from when I was 19, I used to rap about how corrupt Big Pharma is. So a lot of people, a lot of millennials, a lot of boomers, a lot of Gen Z, apparently they've never known Big Pharma was corrupt, and they just think because they did the polio vaccine or something that they're like amazing. But I've known Big Pharma was corrupt, so that it wasn't easy to trick me on all this stuff, because I've watched what they, I mean, just open your eyes. Like, what's the number one killer now of young kids? I believe from like 18 to 35 or 40. Do you know what the number one killer is now? It's fentanyl. It's opioids and these type of stuff. I believe fentanyl is the number one killer now. And if you look at the opioid, a lot of these same companies are getting charged for the opioid crisis that's killing your kids and your grandkids. Like, it's everybody at this point knows somebody that is overdosed on drugs. This is not normal. Illegal drugs, not just illegal drugs, legal drugs. So you got companies like Johnson and Johnson, like, you think, like, I wouldn't even use their shampoo at this point. I use, this is just me. This is not health or advice. I use soap, shampoo. I think about all this stuff. I wouldn't even use their freaking Band-Aids at this point. So, maybe that's the only product I would use from them. So, no disrespect, but you're not going to force me to get a product from a company that had problems with their baby powder, asbestos lawsuits killing people, their sunscreen taken off the shelves, they're settling out opioid settlements. You just open your eyes. These companies are riddled with issues, and anytime they have liability, it's not been great for them in the last 5 years on products that they're actually liable for. So they have the greatest deal ever made ever with this product. Outside of whether you got the vaccine or not, whether you're pro-vaccine or you're skeptical, this is not a conversation. Business-wise, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner at this point, I can't think of I wouldn't do it because I'm not a piece of trash devil like they are, but they got the greatest business deal in human history, literally ever. They have a product that was subsidized and funded by governments around the world and vaccine funding groups and billionaires. So their product was funded and subsidized. Their product that was funded and subsidized was then bought by governments around the world. Their product that was funded and subsidized and then bought by governments, so they paid for it, they bought it. Then it was mandated, so you couldn't opt out or else you lost all your stuff. And also, they have no liability as they're settling out. Pfizer has criminal fines for this. Pfizer gets caught bribing doctors. Johnson and Johnson has lawsuits up the wazoo. They're settling out opioid stuff. They're settling this. They're settling that. They got problems with a lot of their other products. They now have this product that nobody can opt out of without losing stuff, and they have no liability for it. You're never going to see a commercial like you see all these commercials. Did you take this product? Did you take this product? Did you take this product? You can sue. You can sue. You can sue. That's what the television's filled with. You're never going to see this regardless of what happens with this product because they don't have liability. So They got the greatest business deal in human history, a product that got subsidized by governments and billionaires, a product that then got bought by governments around the world, a product that they have no liability for, that they're forcing people to get possibly forever. Yeah, and the Pfizer CEO has the nerve to go on television and say, "Oh, if you post misinformation, you should. It's a criminal act, in my opinion." You mean like the criminal fine that your company settled out? You mean like the bribing scandals that you got caught in? You mean like the fact that you said it had 100% efficacy from hospitalizations? You're spreading misinformation. This guy is such a piece of trash, and he has the nerve to. I would just shut my mouth and take all the money. He has the nerve to run around television saying it should be criminal. It's like, bro, you are the biggest piece of trash on planet Earth right now. Look at his profits and his company's profits. If it's, oh, it's not about money. Okay, take the money that you made and give it to people who lost their business in the lockdown. You don't want to do that? Then shut up, Albert. You know, if you don't, Borlaug, whatever the hell his name is, it's like, oh, you're so bad. It's like, okay, it's not about money, right? It's such an ethical thing you're doing. You're saving the world. Take all the money and give it to impoverished people, people that have been pushed into poverty because of the pandemic. Why do you need to make all this profit? It's not about money. He is such a piece of dirt because he got the greatest business model ever. And he can run his mouth and settle criminal fines to the side. And everybody's going to, you know, you're not even really allowed to disagree. This is settled science where they can literally make false predictions, put out nonsense studies that end up not being true. And that's fine. But if you question them and tell the truth against it, then you get censored. We live in a medical, biomedical, authoritarian society right now where we are being ruled like slaves, and the authoritarians, big government, big pharma, are allowed to do literally anything. And it doesn't matter how many people they hurt. It doesn't matter how many lives they ruin. It doesn't matter how much money they take from people. It doesn't matter how much inflation they cost. This isn't going away. It's been almost 2 years, so this goes away when people who got the shots don't want to get boosters forever. This goes away when people, influential people like, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Kyrie Irving, when a few other professionals get some gonades, some ballones, and start to say, put their foot down and be like, you know what? I'm not anti this or that. I'm not against science, but I'm tired of being treated like a slave and a prisoner. Forever. I'm over this new world that you built. It's not normal. It's not healthy. And they're in no rush to do a study on all the collateral damage they caused. And Washington Post even put out reports that said, hundreds of millions of people might die from starvation. Washington Post. Someone said huevos. Exactly. That's the word. That's the accurate Spanish word I'm looking for. Get some huevos. That's correct. That's correct. Thank you for the Spanish slang. But in general, it's like, Washington Post is as mainstream as you can get. Hundreds of millions of people might die from starvation and poverty. It's like, dude, then you guys are 10 times worse than Hitler and Stalin in the sense of death count. If that's how many people are going to die, if hundreds of millions of people die from starvation and poverty, you could put Hitler and Stalin's death count together, multiply them by 10. That's you. That's how bad you are. That's math. That's science. If you literally kill, and I'm not saying it happened, this was a prediction, but if you kill hundreds of millions of people, you literally are like worse than every authoritarian murderer in the last 100 years from China, from Europe, from Russia. Combine them all, and that's you. And you have no shame about that. You're not. These people are bad, and the inflation collateral damage, the poverty collateral damage, the business loss collateral damage, the obesity collateral damage, the opioid overdoses and fentanyl overdoses collateral damage, the suicide collateral damage, the systemic, destruction of what they did, the stress, the fear, the anxiety that they've caused. Their death count is astronomical. They're just not in a rush to do those studies, because if they do those studies, they'll determine that they're literally worse than the World War II murders that they cry about all the time in history, and say, oh my God, they're so bad. That's you. You're a fascist. It's like, you literally probably killed more people in the last 2 years than both of those people combined. If you add up the entire world lockdown and every collateral death from that, they're not in a rush to do those studies. But if they did those studies, they'd find out that they're like the biggest mass murderer in the last 30 years. And that's not something that they want to be out there. So they're going to sweep this under the rug until enough people realize, holy crap, like they're destroying everything, and something will be done about it. So, let's add up all of the deaths. If you look at how much, obesity and heart disease kills every year, think about the generational impact of, they've admitted now that childhood obesity has risen because of the pandemic. not because of the virus, because of your response to the virus. Your response to the virus, you shut down gyms, you shut down spas, you shut down schools, you shut down sports. That's what caused the obesity. You raise stress, you raise fear. The virus did not cause the obesity. Your reaction to the virus caused the obesity. Okay, let's say you made 50 million kids around the world, fatter. Okay, if they continue on that path of being obese because you're taking away all their stuff and you're stressing them into oblivion and you rerouted their brain to do Zoom calls instead of walking around, how many people are going to die earlier because of how fat you made them, at a young age? They're going to kill way more people than Stalin and Hitler. It's not even going to be close. So when people are like, oh, this is the safe route, are you going to think about your kids and grandkids in 30 years? If hyperinflation hits, it's already at like 9.5, 10% consumer inflation. It's probably not done. If it hits 100, 200% inflation, do you realize what poverty does? Do you realize why so many people come to America? Oh, America's so racist. Oh, that's why people that are blacker than, I want to like just pick up something that's black in a chair. Like, I'm sorry, but in general, it's like people that are darker than this are at the border, throwing their Peruvian IDs on the ground or Chilean IDs on the ground. They're Haitian refugees who live in Chile. They're faking like they don't have one to come to America. Why are they coming if it's so racist and they're so dark? It's because people want to come to America because there's a good economy. This is why my ancestors traveled to America. This is why people want to come to Europe and other places because it's nicer than where they're from, or else they would just stay there. If Europe and America was so racist, nobody would want to go here. But everybody wants to go here. Why? Because our economy. So the point I'm getting to is they're escaping countries where there's not a lot of prosperity to come to America where there's more. If we don't have that economy anymore, you're going to see why people like to leave places. If our country gets as authoritarian or has hyperinflation like Venezuela, you're going to see why people had to leave Venezuela to go to other places in South America or to try to come to America. So you think this is a safe route? I mean, that's like the most elitist, mindset. It's like, oh, this is so safe. Like, temporarily, that would be like saying like sitting on the couch and just eating cheesy poofs all day. That's safer than like driving because you might get in an accident. But it's like you sit there long enough in 2 years, like it's not safe anymore. It's like temporary pleasure, long-term pain. That's what we're going through. Every day we wait, every day that people drag this out. So I have my scientific reasons for doing what I'm doing, but like I'm thinking long term. It's like, yeah, this is, at a certain point, this damage, if we stop for 2 weeks, 15 days of slow spread, that damage would have been probably bigger than anything in 30 or 40 years. Just 2 weeks of shutdowns, 2 weeks of businesses not getting money, 2 week, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of businesses would have went out of business because of 2 weeks. This is going on damn near 2 years of these restrictions. Like if we stopped this tomorrow completely and went back to normal, we'd be reaping the mistakes of this for decades. So the longer this lasts, the crazier it's going to get. I'm ready for it though. I'm ready for it. I'm at peace. I'm ready for it. I'm not mad. I'm not stressed out. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm just aware and trying to do what I can to get people to realize that this is not sustainable. Someone said, "Can you imagine a refugee push out of America?" It would be crazy if people had to leave America, but it's like, oh my God, it's so bad here. Dude, like liberals try to compare it to like Germany and World War II and stuff. And it's like, if this was so bad, like imagine people like running into Germany, like minorities running in, they're not really minorities. That's kind of a fake term because on a global scale, white people are a minority. So they're going to make you think you're a majority until you don't exist anymore. And then they'll call it a racist conspiracy theory. But in general, it's like, imagine people dying to get into a country that's so bad like that. America, I can't believe anybody really believes this stuff. They're like, it's so terrible. We're the worst. Like, then why are Haitians lined up at the border destroying their Peru? Why don't they stay in Chile? Chile must be so not racist, right? Intersectionality. They don't want to be in Chile. They want to be in America. So, it's like it's so bad that people are literally like running across to do what they can. Like, I don't I don't get how people believe that. Did I see how Maria Farmer told her story on National Natural Capitalist live on Reed Coverdale? I did not. I'm not even sure who Maria Farmer is, but I'll check it out. Someone said Georgia Guidestone says decrease the population. Fact check true. Georgia Guidestones definitely says that. Somebody made that. Someone said Bitcoin going to zero. I hope not. I'm back in the crypto space, so. Julia said Trump claims he got the booster shot. Is that true? I don't want to. I didn't even talk about Trump, so I don't want to do it because people are going. I want to take a Trump break. Let me see. Booster. I'm gonna Google it though. Thanks, Julius. Trump supports booster. He says he's boosted. Trump reveals he got the booster. Oh my gosh, dude. Trump is such a goofball. All right, ready? I'm gonna read this. This is a Business Insider. Thank you, Julius. It says Trump supporters booed and jeered when he revealed he got a booster shot in his pro-vaccination. He got booed again. Uh, dude, he's such a loser. Trump supporters booed at an event Sunday when he announced he got the booster shot. Let me read real quick. Oh my gosh. Trump made the comments during an appearance on the former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly's history tour. At the event, Trump noted that the COVID vaccine was developed under his administration as part of Operation Warp Speed. Look, we did something that was historic. We saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. And when we together, all of us, we got the vaccine done. This was going to ravage the country far beyond what it is right now. Take credit for it. It's great. We've done it. It's historic. Don't let them take it away. Uh, Oh, Bill O'Reilly got the booster too. Oh, good booster, boys. See, this is a nice dynamic here. We have Democrats trying to keep us literally like locked down and enslaved forever and in this state of like restrictions forever. And then you have controlled opposition Republicans just doing half of what they're doing. They're like, I would get it too. I saved you didn't save tens of millions of lives, dummy. You guys ruined tens of millions of lives by locking the whole world down. He's not going to talk about childhood obesity that he helped cause. He's not going to talk about starvation and poverty all across the world and, the ruin of 100,000 businesses because it's not politically convenient. It's such a clown show. This is why I don't even like tune in anymore. It's like, it saved the world. It's like, how are we going to defeat the mental overhaul of America and the authoritarian takeover when our opposition leader is literally buying into this concept that lockdowns, forced vaccination or choice vaccine save tens of millions of lives? Really? Where's the studies on that? Tens of millions of lives. Yeah. Is there does he ever reference a study when he says that? I would love to see the study that says tens of millions of lives were saved. It doesn't exist, or else he would reference it. Someone said Trump's a thick boy. It's so funny. It's like, does somebody like this? I'm just curious. Maybe he believes in it. Maybe he believes in like boosters forever. Listen, if he wants to do that, that's fine. But like, it just seems like somebody has like a gun point. I'm not saying this literally happens. I'm being sarcastic, but like, is somebody off camera with like a gun pointed to like every Fox News host, and they're like, "Oh yeah, for sure, yeah, boosters are good. Yeah, we're gonna fight authoritarianism by constantly telling people that boosters." It's like, okay, sure. This is not medical advice. This is comedy. It's like, yeah, we saved the world from the Spanish flu. Please don't take away. It's like, I'm going to prove how Republican I am. I'm going to work at these news networks. They're like, well, you need to get tested every weekly. Like, the only way I could fight authoritarianism is to get a PCR test jammed up my brain every week to really fight the left. Oh, I'm fighting AOC. It's like, they're like, oh, I want to be Greg Gutfeld so bad. Please shove a PCR test up my face, please. I'm just kidding. I don't know if they test them every week or not. It's like, please let me on television to make fun of AOC. I'll do anything. I'll do anything to be that guy. It's like, dude, get a PCR test up your face and get the booster. Like, oh, please, I can't. Nobody will care about me if I don't have my Fox News gig. Nobody will love me anymore and think I'm funny guy making fun of Ilhan Omar every day and just saying generic things. Like, please, I'll get the test. I'll get the booster. I'll do whatever I have to do to be the Republican guy. Please book me, Charlie Kirk. Please let me speak in front of all. Please let me talk at America Fest. I'll do anything. So cool, man. They're so conservative. They're really fighting the deep state. They're like, dude, we gotta fight the deep state. The only way to fight the deep state is to pretend that Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, and Moderna are the most ethical companies ever who literally saved the entire world. That's the only way to fight the deep state, folks, is to, just tell everybody how great of a company Johnson and Johnson is. Johnson and Johnson, It's a great American company, okay? They're very good. Johnson Johnson. We should have never taken them off the market, okay? It's a very good product. It's like, oh yeah, man, the deep state is shivering in their boots. They are shaking. They are shaking at Donald Trump's presence. They're like, oh my gosh, he's telling people that Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and Johnson literally saved the entire planet and hundreds of millions of lives from Spanish flu. Wow. Oh no, I'm really scared of that guy. You know, the guy who took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration and put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of HHS. Whoa, that guy's really he's really pounding the deep state, folks. Promo code, you know, give your money, Save America Super PAC. Just funnel your money to that guy because he's for sure he's this close. I mean, just a few more Pfizer sales, and he's right this close. He's really close to just nabbing, Pelosi and fighting the gremlins. Man, after this live stream, I might get on Trump. I might get on Trump.com and just give my whole month's income to this guy because I'm so glad he's promoting the booster. It's like that's how you beat the deep state. You gotta keep promoting boosters. You gotta support Pfizer. I mean, if there's one thing that the deep state really hates, it's people who disagree with Pfizer. So when he gets on television and just does the work of big pharma. Ooh, I feel like I'm watching Spider-Man. I feel like I'm watching Peter Parker for the first time. Tobey Maguire hanging upside down, making out with Kirsten and Dunst. I feel like a kid again. Damn. How do I give more money to this guy? It's not like he's raced enough to do nothing. My gosh, what a great political movement we've built. Someone said, "Where's the data showing how many people have died with the vaccine?" You're talking about like in states and stuff. They make it very difficult. Like in Vermont, I haven't studied the everywhere like meticulously, but I've studied Vermont pretty well because it's one of the most vaccinated states. If you look at their government, they put out a briefing. They do not make it easy. They make it very confusing to try to figure out how many people died with the vaccine from COVID, because they have those numbers. They do not make it easy. But when I was researching a couple months ago, the majority of people were dying with the vaccine. But here's the thing, most elderly people get the vaccine. If you're over 60, like in Vermont, it's like 90+% of people are vaccinated. So those are the people that are dying. So it's not out of it's not crazy to think that most people dying in Vermont are vaccinated now because most elderly people are vaccinated and elderly people are dying at a lot. Like I'm honest with those numbers, but they're not honest the other way around. So you could find it, but they don't make it easy because they have to keep pushing this illusion that it's like you're immune from everything. You're gonna live till you're 1,000. It's like, no, it's a preventative measure, and then if it doesn't work, then you move to the next step. Someone said boomers are 90% vaxxed. Yeah, for sure. So it's those numbers are gonna not be shocking. To me, what is shocking though is places like Africa, or like you can compare and contrast the countries that do it this way and do it that way, mass, unmasked. These numbers in states like Florida versus states at like you could look up all this stuff. It's just it's not convenient. They have like a way of making it well like this, but this. Well, it's time for the booster. It's like they have a great scheme where it's like they know exactly what to say. Well, if it's not working now, you need another one. It's like, it's like, oh, the reason that the new variant, the Delta variant's too strong. The Omicron variant's sneaking around it. It's like 12 years later. It's like, oh, it's just annoying. I once again, I want to, if you go back on my Twitter in like June, I predicted what's happening now. I said in the winter, they're going to bring back mask mandates. They're going to do more restrictions. They're going to cut off travel. I predicted all of this 6 months ago. I'm going to tell you how I knew. Unlike these other influencers, are like, oh, I have a crystal ball and I read message boards. Like, wow, congratulations, you can read. So can a lot of people in America. But in general, it's like, I'll tell you why I knew that this was going to happen, because it's winter. This is why I knew, because winter cases usually go up, respiratory illnesses go up, flu usually goes up. My prediction was probably there's going to be more COVID cases in certain areas or more hospitalizations because the winter, less sun, colder weather. You know what I'm saying? People hunker down. This is not abnormal to think that winter might hit harder. So they're acting like if there's one case of Omicron, that's justification to shut down. Cases are rising. We got to shut down. Dude, this is never going to end because there is no like eliminating human death. There is no eliminating human illness. And unless this just disappears off the face of the map, which I hope it does, if it doesn't, then it might be a bi-seasonal or seasonal thing, especially when you're testing this much. So, now seasons don't exist anymore. Now we're not going to, like, the flu always went up in the winter. We didn't say, oh my God, it's up in the winter and we don't know why. Why is it up in the winter? They just were like, oh, it's the flu season. They're like, this is normal. It's not great that so many people are dying, but this is not surprising that the numbers are going up in the winter. But with COVID, everybody's dumb. Oh, who would have known that winter could have possibly done something different? Every year ever, it's so easy to predict this stuff because it's so obvious. Like, seriously, you could have an IQ of like 40 if you just like slightly pay attention and slightly have like an ounce of common sense. You, like myself, can predict all of this stuff because it's like, oh my God, there's a new variant that hasn't killed a single person in this country yet. Well, let's shut everything down because of that. And there's a spike in the winter. It's like, now we're going to act like the winter, I call it the formerly known as flu season. The winter was formerly known as flu season. Now it's known as, oh my God, COVID. Who would have guessed? Like, really? Like, I was talking to somebody in my family and like somebody at their work, and they were like, "Oh my God, cases are spiking." Like, first of all, I'd have to check it because I don't even know like what they're talking about. But in general, I'm like, "Are you gonna act like?" I'm like, "Do you remember how like flu got worse in winter?" And then they like they never thought of that. They're like, yeah, let's not talk about this. And it's like, yeah, let's not, because I could show you a Newsweek article from the first week of December where it said the least 5 vaccinated states are all going down in cases. Literally, Newsweek put out an article that said the 5 least vaccinated states at the beginning of December were going down in cases. And if you search the top couple states that were the most vaccinated, the cases weren't going down in certain areas. So, this idea, like, and then people will say, well, the hospitalization is true. But like, people are like, they're so brainwashed that they think that getting it means that there's going to be less cases. It's like, no, they're not even claiming that. They're claiming that it prevents against hospitalization. It gives you a higher percentage chance to not get hospitalized. They're not claiming it eliminates cases. No one's claiming that anymore. They were at the beginning when they were lying to you, but now if you listen to all the top experts, they're not claiming that the vaccine eliminates the virus, but people are just so brainwashed that they don't even listen. Like, it's not even like it's not like a data argument. Like, I could have a debate with somebody because I've read a lot and researched a lot. I could have a data scientific driven argument with someone who disagrees with me, and we could have a valid because there are, I mean, with data, it's little sample sizes, big sample sizes. This stuff is not concrete. So there is a debate to be had, but the average person who's just saying this stuff, they have no research. They're literally just hearing what other people say on television and they're not checking it. That's like with when Joe Rogan talked about Ivor blank blank, you don't have to think it works for COVID. You don't have to think it's the right thing to do. You don't have to say that because I don't know what it does. I never claimed that it worked or didn't because I have no idea. But what I would say is, like, did you know, if you call it horse dewormer, did you know that it's on the CDC website for refugees like over 40 times, literally on the website for use in humans for another reason? Oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that the guy who did it got a Nobel Prize? Oh, I didn't know that. So what do you don't know it. You're just listening to what they say. So I'm not saying it works and I'm not telling people to take it. I'm just saying that this idea that it's only for horses, like, is ridiculous. That's dumb. It's just dumb. And I'm someone who doesn't even talk about it because I don't take medication. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell people what works and what doesn't. But if you think it's not used in humans ever, the human form of it that is literally on the CDC website for refugees, for other things, you're an idiot. So that's like most people, there is no like intellectual debate going on. It's just like, I'm just like, oh, the cases are going up everywhere that's unvaccinated. Like, literally, no. Literally, that's not happening, and no one's claiming that. It's like, oh, well, let's not talk about it because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, okay. All right, I got like 5 to 10 more minutes. Someone said, come to Texas and join the Texas movement. Help us monitor our elections. I'm not going to make a huge impact on that. So if you're on that, God bless you and good luck with the elections. Keep them fair. No funny business, but that's not my thing. So someone said, still not supporting anyone anymore. I don't know if you mean politically or donations, but 2022, what we're doing here is all about self accountability, self awareness. There's a great chart. It's one of my favorite memes. Maybe I'll share it again later. It says, can you do something about it? Yes. Then do something about it. Can you do something about it? No. Then don't worry about it. But they both lead to don't worry about it. So that's our theme of 2022. Listen, if you like Trump more than me, that's fine. Just get used to my hilarious Trump jokes because they're funny. If you don't like politicians, that's fine. If you don't vote, I don't care. If you vote, that's awesome. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but our theme here, self accountability and self awareness. What can we control? What can we do? If we can't do anything about it, we can't worry about it. If we can do something about it, then do something about it. But the best way to do something about it is to take care of yourself. I'm not saying this to be corny, and I hope that this is inspirational for people. My life changed. I was always good at rapping. I had record label deals and stuff, but the part that I was missing was internal. I was not confident. I didn't know myself. I didn't focus enough on what I needed to do. I was constantly comparing and contrasting and things that will weigh you down. My whole life changed, not when I got money, not when I got power. I had nothing. I had nothing to my name. I owned nothing. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a savings. My life changed when I realized that I needed to be grateful and appreciative and focus on myself. So even if you want to impact the world or you want to change the country for the better, it starts internally. Once you're in a better position to do that, it's like pouring. You can't pour water from an empty cup. When you're full, you can share with others more. So the theme of 2022, outside of how much you disagree or agree with my politics or whatever, focus on yourself. Do what you can to put yourself in a better position to succeed, to be happy, to be present, to be calm or not freaking out all the time, to be healthier. And then we work from what there, and you'll find when you're healthier and you're happier and you're more content and you're more confident, that's when you can help others. It's easier to do that from a position of power. Someone said anomaly is a pro voter. This is a framing that people say when they think that not voting does anything. Whether I vote or not, my I just told you what my focus was, on myself, on what I can do, on how I'm going to build for myself, my family, my future, my friends. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not, whether you vote or not is not on my radar of what matters to me right now. So people keep saying that to me because they think that it's like being a vegan or something. If you're vegan, that's great. But if it's like your whole thing, or like I like Trump, it's my whole life. It's like I get it. I'm just saying, like, there's other things that are important, whether you do or you not. Where it's like some of these like anti-voter people, they're like worse than vegans and CrossFit people. Like, you think your whole personality is like, I don't vote, so I matter. It's like, do some push-ups and start a business or something, bro. Like, I don't care if you vote or not. You're like, he's a pro voter. No, you're like worse than a vegan and a CrossFit. You're like a CrossFit vegan. Like, I don't vote. Hey guys, you're like, hey, what are you doing? Anomaly. I'm like, how are you doing? You're like, oh, did I mention I don't vote? I'm like, that's cool. You're like, I don't believe in the two-party system. I'm like, no, I agree with you. Like, yep, do you vote? But I don't vote. Did you know I don't vote? Did you know I don't vote? Did I tell you that? I don't know if hey, everybody at the Christmas party, I don't vote. I'm saving the country. I don't vote. I don't vote. Like, that's like the whole vibe you guys give me. So I don't even disagree with you that much, but it's like you think not voting is a personality, and you think not voting means you're doing something. It's not really helping. I'm sorry. There's a million things you could be doing for yourself, for your family, for your business, for your life, for your mental health, for your significant other if you have one. And talking about not voting on YouTube and Twitter is not like a top 50 thing that makes you impressive or interesting. So find a new hobby. I suggest, try soccer. It's fun. Hey, no, do you're one of those voters? Are you vaccinated or unvaccinated? Are you a voter or non-voter? I think there is a difference in local elections, and I think that, it definitely can impact uh, a little bit. A lot? I don't think so. Do I think the Republican Party is virtually useless? Close, but whether I cast my vote or not, it's not like a top 50 thing that I'm like proud of. I mean, I I'm gonna wear the sticker. You know what? I'm gonna vote in the next election, and I'm gonna wear the sticker right here, just to piss off the non-voters, and I'm gonna have that I voted sticker, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I voted. Hey, did you know I voted? Hey, did you know I voted? Hey, bro, did you know I vote? I'm a voter. The only way to get out of this thing is to vote your way out of this thing. We need to vote. We need to vote more. Don't work out. Don't take care of yourself. Don't start a business. Don't think about mental health. Just vote. Just keep voting. That's like, I've never been that way. You guys just like in your head, I just say something and you're like, oh, he thinks voting's gonna solve all this. And I'm like, whatever, bro. You're worse than CrossFitters. Someone says stop voting and start running for office. Go run a lap before you run for office. Everybody's like, you got to run for office. And I'm like, you got to run for office. Run a lap. Go run around. Go to a field and go run up a hill and run down, but don't hurt yourself because I don't want to be liable for that. But like everybody wants to run for office, but they don't want to run a lap. It's time to run a mile. If you can't run 5 miles, you shouldn't run for office. It's like Chris Christie. You know what I'm saying? He should do some jumping jacks before he talks about running for president. Pompeo's on that 2 jack for the gulag. I don't politically, he's not my favorite, but you see, he's out here losing weight. He gets it. Shout out to Pompeo. He's getting 2 jack for the gulag. He's like, if I'm gonna run for office, I'm about to get jacked. It's like, exactly. Good job. I'm not gonna vote for you, but I respect the fact that you're slimming down and you're getting in shape before you run. Run a mile before you run for office. And in general, it's like everybody, you gotta run for office, dude. You think I would just run for office? I would study poli science for 2 years. I'm like other people, they don't even care. They're like AOC, she just runs and like somebody else does her stuff. I wouldn't ever do anything half-assed. So I would have to learn a lot before outside of my jokes about running a lap, I would have to actually like mentally get 2 jack for the gulag. I would have to like learn things, like not just like I'm running for office. No, I'm gonna understand how it fully works before I do anything. But someone said Pompeo's not your friend. I'm I appreciate the fact I'm glad for him and his health that he slimmed down a little bit. I'm not saying he's my friend. I'm just saying my whole life doesn't even revolve around this stuff. Like I'm giving him a compliment. It's like it's okay to notice that he got 2 jack for the gulag. Listen, he's gonna come back flexing on them, flexing on these haters, and I'm gonna be like, okay, I see you. I'm not voting for you, but I see you. I would do the same thing for Jerry Nadler or whatever his name is. Jerry Nadler. If Jerry Nadler came back with a six-pack abs instead of a diaphragm looking like Venus, I would be like respect and not on some hatefulness, on some, times are tough out here, Nadler. You don't want to have a diaphragm half the size of a 5 times the size of a WNBA ball. You wanna get 2 jack for the gulag. It's like I don't have to like your policies, but if you slim down that diaphragm so your pants ain't coming out like the penguin from Batman, it might be a future play. I want America to be great again. I want us to look, you know what I'm saying? We need to get in military shape. We don't need, no offense, but we don't need some like diversity is our strength in our military. It's like, bro, we're not out here playing checkers. It's not a Connect Four tournament. Like we don't go to Europe and play like Red Rover. It's like it's the military, okay? It's not about you. Oh, that's so hateful. It's like, I have long hair. Do you think I would go in the military and be like, "Oh, my hair looks so good, I need to keep." No, I shave my hair off and I go to war. It's not about me. It's not about my hair. It's not about my looks. It's about defending your country. It's not about LGBT hikes. Who cares? You like do your job. They got it so but man, you don't want to let me into politics because I'll turn this whole thing around. Okay. You don't want to let me in here. I'll turn this whole thing around and I'll get in a lot of trouble. It's like it's not it's not West Hollywood. It's not Gay Boy Thursdays at, whatever. And I'm not knocking I'm just saying that's not what it is. It's just like it's not football Sunday. It's not time to watch the Buffalo Bills. It's the military. It's are you strong enough? Are you mentally strong enough? Physically strong enough? It's not a freaking party. It's not Thanksgiving dinner. It's not your local rodeo. It's not flea market Fridays down at the corner store. It's not the farmers market. It's war. It's defending your country. They had that woman on trial. I talked to somebody that said, "Don't say that on your live stream." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "If you look at the WNBA versus the NBA, most women can't play with the men. It doesn't mean you're worse. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're not strong. I like watching women's boxing. I like watching women's MMA. I like watching WNBA finals. I don't watch the season, but I'll watch the finals. I like it, but they're not as good. So if you're trying to build an army or like a police force, are women as physically fit? Are they as good with guns? If you're a high level woman and you're better than, the chubby donut eating guy on the force, then put her on. But this idea that we need like diversity, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't think so. For those positions, just like if a woman's better at something else, let her be it. I'm not with all this stuff. So at the end of the day, these women cops, you better be strong and you better be good with the gun. If not, I don't know that you should be there. I don't know that we should be trying to get women into the police force. That's just my opinion. Like, if you're great enough, that's fine. But I don't know. I would think they're not as physically fit. They're not as able. Like, imagine a woman trying to you know, get a 6'1" dude that's jacked. Like, she's gonna get like, these women security guards are getting rocked left and right. It's not smart. So you don't want to let me in the office because I'll make things great again. People are like, don't say that. I'm like, why? It's true. So Lisa said, couldn't agree more. If you're like, if listen, if you're like a high level woman who's kicking every guy's ass, it's fine. But let's not lower the bar. And if we don't lower the bar, most women can't get in, and that's fine because it's not about how good you look. It's not about equality. It's about being great at your job, defending your country, defending your county, defending your town from criminals and murderers. That's what it's about. It's not about me or you. Everybody thinks it's about them. And it's not hateful. It's like, "Ugh, but they have feelings." Like, dude, I have long hair. I would cut it to go in the military. Like, it's not about how I look on Instagram. Like, get over yourself. People think I care. I don't care. People are like, that looks great. I appreciate it. Thank you. I like a compliment. I like to look good. But it's like, everybody's like, but my sexuality matters. In the military, it matters. Like, like, what? Like, they need to get surgery. Like, if you're confused about what gender you are, don't go in the military. What do you like? If I want long hair and I want to be a cowboy, then I won't join the military because guess what? It sounds like I have different priorities. Like, it's not about you. Everybody thinks it's about them. But what about who cares? Then do something else. Like, I could do whatever I want. I can move to San Francisco and dress like a cowboy and say march through the streets, but I'm not gonna like demand that they include that in like the police training. It's like, get over yourself. People are so gross. Like, it's not hateful. It's just like basic get over yourself. Like, it's just like with the gay stuff. I know gay people that are cool because they're actually like not annoying. It's like people that are annoying, they're like, but you can't not like me because I'm gay. It's like, oh, I could definitely not like you. Like, I don't have to like you. I don't have to like anybody. Doesn't matter what race you're. I don't Your race doesn't make me like you, and your sexuality doesn't make me like you. In fact, never mind. But in general, it's like it's not I like you for who you are, but if you're not cool, the people that aren't cool, they hide behind that and they're like, well, I'm gay. It's like, so was Freddie Mercury, but I liked him because he made good songs and he was cool. You're not cool. Like, I don't have to pretend like you're cool just because you're that. It's not how it works. I like plenty of black, Hispanic, Asian, just not you. I have gay friends that I talk to. You're not one of them. I'm not, I don't have to like you because you're gay. Type of world. Like, I don't, I don't know why people go along with that. They're like, "This is my friend." I'm like, they got to step it up. They're not, They're hiding behind that as a shield because they're not, they don't have any like they don't have anything else to like prop up, so they just prop that up. I'm not buying it. Someone said I was good at turning a wrench or climbing ladders. Dope. Sounds like you could be a police officer then. I didn't even see if that was a man or a woman, but if you could do the job, you could do it. If you can't, the bar's being lowered for everything. It's like, yeah, you're not really good at being a train conductor, but how gay are you? It's like, let's not diversify our train conductors. Like, let's just get the best guy for the job. I wouldn't care if they were all a different race or sexual. Like, just get good people. Like, I don't, this idea, like equality. Yeah, let's all be poor and stupid and not do anything. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Let's stop building great things and just get people who can't do it good. And then we can all like talk about how cool we look. Like it's do you care who your plumber is? Who's good at it? Like, but he's not good, but man, you should see him at karaoke on Friday. He sings Liza Minnelli really well. And you're like, that's cool, but can he fix the pipe though? You know? Who wants that? Someone said anomaly too much coffee today. Too much coffee. I make a few jokes. I can't be funny. I can't tell jokes without being accused of being overly caffeinated. Bunch of hateful, misogynist, I don't know, coffee neutral, coffee phobes over here. Caffeine phobes. Oh, you have a few sips of coffee. Oh, anomaly, you're overly caffeinated. Did you know that's what Hitler said? Did you know that's what Hitler used to say to Jewish people? He used to say, "Oh, are you?" No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if that I can make joke. Like, did you know that in World War One and the Bolshevik Revolution, that's the same thing they said to people? They said, "Oh, you drink too much coffee." Next thing you know, they're rounding people up. So you should watch your mouth because I have connections with a lot of organizations that could censor you. Okay, if you keep discriminating against overly caffeinated human beings, because listen, there are black people who drink too much coffee. There are white people who drink too much coffee. There are Asians who drink too much coffee. There are Latinx that drink too much coffee. So when you start to hate on me, me as a social justice warrior, I got everybody on my back. I got the whole community. I got every letter LGBT. You keep going for 10 letters. I got them all on my back. So when you attack me and my coffee drinking, I feel like you remind me of Hitler. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to compare because it's uncomparable and we all understand that. But I'm just saying you hating on me just starts to really seem like slavery. And, I would hate for you to be labeled a racist in the media and have your whole life destroyed. I'm just saying. Let's just say I'm 2 clicks away from, some bloggers who could put out an article and say, anomaly attacked by caffeine phobe racists who remind him of dictators who kill people. And, it's not going to fare well at your job, because your boss reads that paper. So let's calm down and let's not throw accusations at coffee drinkers because, you know, that just reminds me of a certain person that I read in history. I remember falsely that he was attacking people for being overly caffeinated. And I would just hate to see you lose your whole life's security. And you need your booster shot. Don't listen to me. Listen to your doctor. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying, it sounds like you're under boosted. And I'm not, listen to your doctor. I don't provide medical advice. I'm just saying, you remind me of under boosted people who just don't act right in society. So let's not throw false flags out there, so to speak. Okay. You throw one false flag, you start reminding me of Alex Jones. And you know what happened to Alex Jones? You throw enough false flags out there, you're going to get yourself in a real situation. So I'm looking out for you. Let's not go there. Okay. Let's just imagine in your head a warning. Don't go off that cliffside. That's where we're at. Let's not walk further. I got to go, guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Appreciate y'all. Hopefully my jokes weren't too funny because I don't know. I feel like I crossed some uncharted territories there. I know that we live in an authoritarian world where you can't be funny. You can't tell the truth. You can't combat communism. You're not allowed to make people laugh and stuff. So hopefully we didn't cross a boundary there. But if we did, I'll be poor and I'll be crying and I'll throw up GoFundMe so you guys can give me money. No, I'll get a real job. It's fine. But anyway, dreamrare.com. These are the hoodies. They got anomaly embroidered in one of the sleeves. The embroidery came out great. It's made in America, so it cost me a lot of money and the profit margins aren't that high. That's fine. It's upside down. You already get it. Dreamrare.com. We got long sleeves too. They're made in America, stitched in America, sewn in America, cotton grown in America. Literally, like that's how real I keep it out here with the long sleeve. So if you want a very American long sleeve, dreamrare.com, godblesshats.com. And like I said, life is good. I'm fine. I don't need your donations or anything, but if something happens, trust me, I'll be crying like a baby. I'll let you know where you can support. But jokes aside, even though that's kind of not a joke, but jokes aside, I will really figure out 2021. I'm trying to get better content, quality, quantity. You already know we're trying to make it happen. Hopefully I deliver. If not, it's okay. Everybody messes up sometimes, but I'm excited for 2022. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and I might do a live stream tomorrow. I might not. And then I'll be back. Have a good one.